believe in one God and no more, and I hope for happiness beyond this life. I believe in the equality of man, and I believe that religious duties consist in doing justice, love, and mercy, and endeavoring to make our fellow creatures happy. But lest it should be supposed that I believe many other things in addition to these, I shall, in the progress of this work, declare the things I do not believe and my reasons for not believing in them. I don't believe in the creed professed by the Jewish church, by the Roman church, by the Greek church, by the Turkish church, by the Protestant church, nor by any church that I know of. My own mind is my own church. This is Thomas Paine, The Age of Reason. All national institutions of churches, whether Jewish, Christian, or Turkish, appear to me no other than human inventions set up to terrify and enslave mankind and monopolize power and profit. I do not mean by this declaration to condemn those who believe otherwise. They have the same right to their belief as I have to mine, but it is necessary to the happiness of man that he be mentally faithful to himself. Infidelity does not consist in believing or in disbelieving. It consists in professing to believe what he does not believe. The Tell Dan Steele, the archaeology, there says something about the Highlands of David or something. Islam means submission. Israel means wrestles with God. Catholic means universal. The Bronze Age of Hungary, they said, has been measured accurately. You got carbon dating, you got potassium, argon. You got Paleolithic, you got the Old Stone Age, Middle Stone Age, the New Stone Age, Neolithic, Mesolithic, Paleolithic. Then you have the Copper Age and the Bronze Age and the Iron Age. The Copper Age is the Chalcolithic. There's a half-life, 5,700 year half-life C14. It decays at a fixed rate, knocks nitrogen 14, carbon 14, nitrogen 14. You know about carbon dating. I don't have to explain carbon dating to you. Folks, you fine folks. Infidelity does not consist in believing or in disbelieving. It consists in professing to believe what he does not believe. It's impossible to calculate the moral mischief, if I may so express it, that mental lying has produced in society. When a man has so far corrupted and prostituted the chastity of his mind as to subscribe his professional belief to things that he does not believe, he's prepared himself for the commission of every other crime. He takes up the trade of a priest for the sake of gain, and in order to qualify himself for that trade, he begins with a perjury. Can we conceive anything more destructive to morality than this? Soon after I had published the pamphlet Common Sense in America, I saw the exceeding probability that a revolution in the system of government would be followed by a revolution in the system of religion. The adulterous connection of church and state, wherever it had taken place, whether Jewish, Christian, or Turkish, had so effectually prohibited by pains and penalties every discussion upon established creeds and upon first principles of religion, that until the system of government should be changed, those subjects could not be brought fairly and openly before the world, but that whenever this should be done, a revolution in the system of religion would follow human inventions, and priestcraft would be detected, and man would return to the pure, unmixed, and unadulterated belief of one God, and no more. Every national church or religion has established itself by pretending some special mission from God communicated to certain individuals. The Jews have their Moses, the Christians their Jesus Christ, their apostles and saints, and the Turks their Muhammad. Or they say Muhammad. Mahomet. Mahomet is how Thomas Paine is saying Muhammad. In Turkish, the Turks. I thought it was Islam. I thought it was the Islam. They call them Islam, and they also call them Muslims. So Turks and Muhammad, that's not Islam or Muslim. Okay, as if the way to God was not open. And then also Muhammad, Moses, Jesus, they're all Abrahamic religions. Goddamned Abraham, that fucking pervert, that motherfucking pervert who wanted to goddamn, he had, Sarah was apparently his sister, right? So Abraham got with his sister, and then God told Abraham to kill Isaac, and then he went up to the mountain to go stab Isaac in the chest, because that's what you do when somebody tells you to go kill one of your 2-year-old kids. You just blindly, okay, whatever you say. No, sure, right up this mountain? You want me to get a sharp knife? Okay. Tonight, what, 1 p.m.? What, just you tell me. You tell me to jump, I say how high, okay, God? You tell me to jump, I ask how high. You want me to stab my son? You want me to stab my other? Who else do you want me to? Even God was like, God damn, fucking Abraham, you're a little too devoted, a little too devout for me. God damn, motherfucker, chill out. Okay, God, it's just that, I mean, you said to do it, and I just want to show you that I believe. Or maybe it's the priest saying that you should believe in bullshit. Each of those churches show certain books which they call Revelation or the Word of God. The Jews say that their Word of God was given by God to Moses face to face. I mean, that's nice. Hey, Moses, here's some rules. Here's the 10 Commandments. The 10 Commandments is actually a better foundation for a society than a bunch of... The Christians say that their Word of God came from divine inspiration. The Turks say that their Word of God, the Quran, was brought by an angel from heaven. So it's all God, angels, and divine inspiration. Each of those churches accuse the other of unbelief, and for my own part, I disbelieve them all. You're all a bunch of fucking bullshitting, lying motherfuckers. As it is necessary to affix right ideas to words, I will, before I proceed further into the subject, offer some observations on the word revelation. Revelation, when applied to religion, means something communicated immediately from God to man. No one will deny or dispute the power of the Almighty to make such a communication if he or she so pleases. But admitting for the sake of a case that something that has been revealed to a certain person and not revealed to any other person, it is revelation to that person only. When he tells it to a second person, a second to the third, a third to the fourth, and so on, it ceases to be a revelation to all those persons. It's a revelation only to the first person, only just to Moses, just to Jesus, just to Muhammad. You're not getting any of the revelations. And hearsay to every other. You're just listening to hearsay. Oh, I don't believe that he said, she said. Bullshit. All of religions, he said, she said, bullshit. And consequently, they're not obliged to believe it. It is a contradiction in terms of ideas. Terms and ideas to call anything a revelation that comes to us at secondhand, either verbally or in writing. Revelation is necessarily limited to the first communication. After this, it's only on account of something which that person says was a revelation made to him. Well, he said it was God talking to him, and I believe anything that anybody ever says. Let's see, relative dating, you have stratigraphy, typology, geology, paleontology, paleobotany, climatic evidence, relative dating. So when you find like skeletons in the ground, you can carbon date them. You could try to guesstimate. You could say, look at the soil in the ground, because there's stratigraphy, geology. You can look at the rings on a tree. You can look at the rings on a tree. You can look at the levels of dirt and sediment throughout the... And I'm not for sure how typology or paleobotany, I guess the plants... Somehow you can see what plants are. This is all science. If you want to see it, if King David was a real person, let's just put Jesus off to the side for a second. Let's just see if King David was a real person. What evidence do you have? You just got some old piece of fucking fossil that has the word David, and it doesn't even say David. It says it in another language. So you're saying some fucking pottery with some scratches on it? We got some pottery with some scratches on it. And that proves King David was alive. That's all you got? You don't have much evidence, do you? Besides the Bible's bullshit, what other evidence do you got? Any? There's absolute dating, geochronology, dendrochronology. You could use historical evidence. I think we can go back about 4,000 years. Man broke out of Africa 50,000 years ago, 10,000 years ago, 14,000 years ago, Africa man got to America, and then 4,000 years ago, Africa man started writing shit down. Roughly speaking. But 50,000 years ago, got out of Africa. 14,000 years ago, got to America. 4,000 years ago, started writing shit down. Radioactive minerals in certain rocks. It's precise somewhat. A lot of the scientists really believe in this carbon dating. Carbon-14, nitrogen-14, potassium, argon, old Stone Age, new Stone Age. But let's come back to Thomas Paine. After this, it's an account of something which the person says was revelation made to him, though he may find himself obliged to believe it. It cannot be incumbent upon me to believe it in the same manner. God talked to you, fine, okay, that's great for you, but I can't listen to that. You're telling me I think you're a nutcase, you piece of shit. Get the fuck out of here. For it was not a revelation to me, and I only have his word for it, that it was made to him when Muhammad told the children of Israel that he received the 2 tables of commandments from the hand of God. I have these 10 commandments. They were not obliged to believe him because they had no other authority for it than his telling them so. And I have no other authority for it than some historian telling me so. The commandments carry no internal evidence of divinity with them. They contain some good moral precepts, such as any man qualified to be a lawgiver or legislator could produce himself without having recourse to supernatural intervention. When I am told that the Quran was written in heaven and brought to Muhammad by an angel, the account comes too near the same kind of hearsay evidence and secondhand authority as the former. I did not see the angel myself, therefore I got a right to not believe it. And also when I'm told that a woman called the Virgin Mary said or gave out that she was with child without any cohabitation with the man, and that her betrothed husband Joseph said that an angel had told him so, I got a right to believe them or not. Such a circumstance requires a much stronger evidence than their bare word for it. Well, you got my word. How can I trust you, Mary? Well, you got my word as strong as oak. Your word is strong as oak, huh, Jerry Maguire? Okay. Well, if your word is as strong as oak, then saying in Kentucky, no such thing as a verbal contract in Kentucky. The only verbal contract that's recognized in Kentucky is one that's written down. But you illiterates wouldn't know that. That she was with child without any cohabitation without a man and betrothed husband. Joseph said that an angel told him so. Okay. But we have not even this, for neither Joseph nor Mary wrote any such matter themselves. They didn't even tell us themselves that it happened. Other people said it was... No, the Lord revealed himself to Moses. How do you know? Were you there? Did he tell you? Quit asking me questions. Because my daddy told me, that's why. You love Jesus? I love Jesus, Daddy. Joseph said that an angel told him so. I have a right to believe them or not. Such a circumstance required a much stronger evidence than their bare. But we don't even, neither Joseph or Mary even told us that it happened. Some fucking asshole did. Well, an asshole did write it down. It's only reported by others that they said so. Oh, they said, that's hearsay on top of hearsay. It's hearsay upon hearsay, and I do not choose to rest my belief upon such flimsy evidence. It is, however, not difficult to account for the credit that was given to the story of Jesus Christ being the Son of God. He was born at a time when the heathen mythology had still some fashion and repute in the world, and that mythology had prepared the people for the belief of such a story. Almost all the extraordinary men that lived under the heathen mythology were reputed to be the sons of some other gods. Caesar was the son of fucking Zeus or something. Helen of Troy was the son of goddamn Aphrodite or something. It was not a new thing at that time to believe a man had been celestially begotten, not made. The intercourse of gods with women was then a matter of familiar opinion. Their Jupiter, according to their accounts, had cohabited with hundreds. The story, therefore, had nothing in it either new, wonderful, or obscene. It was conformable to the opinions that then prevailed among the people called Gentiles or mythologists. And it was those people only that believed it, the Jews who had kept strictly to the belief of one God and no more, and who had always rejected the heathen mythology, never credited the story. It is curious to observe how the theory of what is called the Christian church sprung out of the tale of the heathen mythology. A direct incorporation took place in the first instance by making the reputed founder to be celestial begotten. The trinity of gods that then followed was no other than a reduction of the former plurality, which was about 20 or 30,000. The statue of Mary succeeded the statue of Diana of Ephesus. There's a couple more pages. We'll come back here. 2 more pages.